Karis is busy working with the pictures. Good morning, everyone. For those that might be watching online, I'm Barbara McKenzie. I think the folks inside know who I am. In April of 23, Richard Muller decided he wanted to retire from Building and Grounds chair, and I said I would. And it's been a roller coaster ride since. He knew when to get out. I would like us, please, to start with a short prayer. Dear Lord, we thank you for this day. We thank you for your disciples that you have gathered here at Ascension. Be with us as we talk about the physical needs of this facility dedicated to your work. Help us to ask good questions, to grow in understanding of our current needs, and how to understand how our actions now will impact our future needs. We praise you for your presence in this corporate gathering, in our going outside of our doors, and your constant presence in the life of each and every one of us connected to Ascension. We ask this in the name of our Lord and Savior Jesus, who is the Christ. Amen. We have three basic topics today that we're going to talk about. Old bifocals, don't I? Our flooring and audio upgrade experts are not available this morning, so we are not going to address those two topics at all. We will talk about what I call the exterior east stained glass wall, and we'll show you pictures. We're also going to talk about the stained glass cross mounting in the sacristy narthex wall, this green wall right back here. And we will talk about organ repairs, the humidification, furnace, air conditioning, etc. They're kind of somewhat linked together. So let's get going. Karis, go ahead with the outside. This is the wall that we're talking about. And if you stand out on the southeast corner of the pastor's office and look back this way, that's the original outside east wall of the church, back when we were an A-frame. See all that black down along the bottom? That's rot. The wall has to be replaced. Or Linda can give us a war story on what happens if you get moisture in and you have to deal with mold mitigation. Those funds are coming out of the contingency fund. The price to do that is $4,900 and a little change. We do have it contracted. The work is due to start before winter sets in. The one thing that we are going to do, and I'm going to start from the your lower left and work up. The bottom pane of glass is cracked all the way across in the middle. The upper right hand has a BB mark in it, and there's one other in the middle, I don't remember which one, also has a BB mark. We have asked them to please keep the glass. We will very carefully store it. I have no idea what we're going to do with it, but I do know that we have a lot of creative artists in this place, and they'll come up with something to do with that old, original 66 glass. So we think we have two good panes, two that have some damage with the BB marks, and one that is totally cracked, right in the middle. Any questions on that exterior wall? By the way, we opened up the nursery ceiling so you can see it from the inside. And Karis has got a slide for that next. Yes, Dan? It will be one solid wall. The whole entire wall is coming out. There will be no glass up there. It'll just be a wooden wall. Yes, Connie?
What are you replacing it with? Are we going back with like wood, or are we gonna do like siding that would maybe last longer?
Oh my gosh, that was last spring, summer. I would have to go back and look. Remove window panes, frame paint. That's the official detail on the bid.
Because wood's gonna rot again due to the roof going right down. So I was just curious if we were gonna go up it a little bit and put like siding or.
We'd like to do this once and have it last for a long time. Okay, Bill. Richard.
Part of the problem was that one of the roof repairs that did not put flashing. The last one was flashing, but was still not a problem. So I think with the wall replacement, flashing, we will.
Thank you. Any other questions? Okay, so when you see people up on the roof tearing out a wall, you'll know why. Before winter. Right. They may not have said what year. We should have specified that. Okay, the cross. How many of you saw the cross leaning up against the nursery wall? Chris, how about the big slide that we just put in? That is the original mounting of this stained glass cross. The glass was made by Shirley Ketzer and Kay Ryman, and their husbands built the case, and it's backlit. And where we have this stained glass up here and the wall right where Bill is sitting and behind Mike, that used to be the end of the church. And that's where this is taken. This is off the 94 directory, obviously taken at Christmas time. That was installed over Holy Weekend of '83. And RC was telling us the story that they brought it in. They were preparing to mount it and have it covered for Good Friday. Something about a blizzard and Good Friday was canceled. And the problems that they were having mounting it were they overcame them on Saturday, and the cross was unveiled on Easter. And that would be in '83. So it has a long history with us. It has been kept in the garage, and not everyone understands that it is an absolute gorgeous piece of art and not just a handle to hang the hose on, which is how we found it when we went out to get it. We want to bring it back in. The proposal is to cut a hole in the wall between the narthex and the sanctuary, and if you go into the narthex, you'll see the holes, the different options, right there. The piece of paper that you handed out is represented in the tape that we've put on the wall, and the question is, do you want to frame just the cross, or do you want to go out beyond it and give it more room? The stained glass is encased in an aluminum frame. Kay does not feel that frame is strong enough to hang it by. So they'll build another frame, wooden frame, around just the cross. It won't be so deep. It won't be backlit. It will be just the cross, the stained glass, that you can see from either side. It would hang in the wall. Glass would be covering both sides, trying to keep it clean and safe and also mitigate the sound traveling back and forth between the two rooms. So our question, not to be answered right now, but for you to think about, call up your friends and neighbors, talk to them. We're going to want to have a decision on, do you want to close frame it or do you want to wide frame it? And if you have any questions about any of that, please talk to me, talk to RC, talk to Tom and Shirley, talk to Kay if you've got her on the phone. We would really like to get that cross back in. The cost of that project has been donated by Jim Mitchell out of the memorial funds for his son Matthew. And he was here last night. I showed him the cross, and he just stood there and looked at it and just commented that it is so beautiful. And then when I showed him the tape and told him that we were planning on moving forward, he just lit up. He was so glad that this is moving forward. So, questions about the glass cross, stained glass cross in the wall? Yes?
My question isn't to do with ours. You probably have studs in there and stuff that would cut down the support, which you wouldn't want to cut down.
We'll get the contractor in here, and he knows how to put in headers and make the building strong. No, because it'll be lit from both rooms. The question, I'm sorry, I have not been repeating questions for the online. Would we need to put light in there? No. Richard? Richard's explaining that when we opened that wall up, when we cut out the drywall, we aren't just going to saw the wood out. We have to put in headers to hold that weight and distribute the weight. It's fairly common practice. Having spent the last 20 years remodeling a house, it's really common practice, and it works. Other questions? Peggy wanted to know if we should ask the two artists what they prefer. They are asking us. This is coming from the Rymans and the Ketzers together working.
What about the person that's donating the money for him? What's his preference?
That it be done.
And it'll just be clear glass if it's wider?
Any way we do this, there will be clear glass on both sides. Joyce, did you have a question? All right, pass the news. We have extra copies for anybody who wants to see them. We're happy, any of us, to talk about the process and what we're doing. If that, let's move on. We have a wonderful congregation, which you all know. You have voted most resoundingly that you need to have the organ repaired with your financial support for that. The council has been in contact with the creators of our special fund, And it is to include both the actual organ repairs and the humidification to continue to preserve the organ. As of the end of December, and I don't think we've gotten anything in January, we're at just slightly over $35,000 in that fund. So whether or not we tackle the organ repairs is, you've already decided that. The humidification, furnaces, air conditioning in the sanctuary, we have DJ Casey from Mr. B's, and he's going to talk to us about all of the ramifications of those three topics wrapped together and how they relate to the organ. Mike's yours. You have to be really friendly. And you probably don't want this step.
Can you hear me now? How about now? All right. So my name's DJ. I'm not much of a public speaker, but I'm an HVAC guy. I've been dealing with Barbara and Bev here with the HVAC for the sanctuary here. It works real good at kind of question and answer, I guess, because it'd be hard for me to stand up here and tell you you need new furnaces without any kind of back and forth in that world. Furnaces back here from about 1998, if I remember right, which doesn't seem like that long ago, but it's in the furnace world, they're pretty old furnaces. Life of a furnace, 20 to 25 years, given how they've been maintained, how they've been operated. These furnaces back here are called downflow furnaces, so they blow down and under the ground and come out these registers we see kind of around us out here, and then all of the air is pulled back into these white registers next to the projector here. So it kind of does a big vicious cycle, blows out here and sucks back here. They were high efficient furnaces that were back here. 30 years or so, they lose efficiency, they lose operation, and they start to have problems. I was originally called out to look at humidifiers for this beautiful organ here and how we put humidity into this space on a constant and something that's in a reliable standpoint. To set just kind of a standalone humidifier over here with these big vaulted ceilings, we have all the wood in this structure, all the humans that hang out in here, we all absorb that humidity before the wood's going to feel it before we do. But so I started out coming over here trying to figure out how we can get humidity into this place, and we were talking about steam humidifiers is really the best way to get any kind of commercial humidity into this place. Steam humidifiers, they have options, and there's really not an option to put one in this wall adjacent to the organ and do anything good, do anything that's going to be worth it in that world. So the humidity side of things is what started everything, and it kind of enveloped into a furnace and air conditioner change out. We can add humidifiers to it, but these being those downflow furnaces, we have to raise things up and bring them up and modify the existing equipment back there to put steam humidifiers on. So in my brain, if we want to take out a 30-year-old furnace, set it to the side, do all the modifications we need, and then put that old furnace back in there, it's going to just have problems. It's going to be something we're chasing ghosts and problems after the fact because it's a 30-year-old furnace roughly. So it'd be something that, again, it's a tough spin to just sit here and say we need these furnaces to do humidifiers without any kind of back and forth on why and how. As far as the mechanical devices back there, they're not made to last forever. We live in planned obsolescence nowadays. It's things that 20, 25 years in this HVAC equipment is a good run. And if we start trying to add layers to it and add accessories, humidifiers, UV lights, I-wave air purifiers, it's not conducive to a good investment if we just start throwing accessories at it without dealing with the heart of the problem. So it'd be something that, again, some questions towards it would make, I guess, the explanation maybe a little bit easier. Does anybody have any questions towards it, or?
Did you go back in with twin furnaces like we have?
Yeah.
Or maybe one unit and
I would twin some furnaces back together in there. So my proposal wouldn't be to necessarily reinvent the wheel, or try to kind of redo anything in the world here in this area, because the ductwork again is all underground. So we're not tearing up all this ground to get to that ductwork. That wouldn't be financially feasible in any way. So yeah, I would set it up the same way that it is set up right now and the way it functions right now, with adding those humidifiers and some iWave air purifiers to the system. So it wouldn't be any, you wouldn't notice a difference unless you're back in that room, other than maybe feeling the humidity in this room in a little bit different function. But yeah, I would twin them together and have the same operation that we're dealing with now. One thermostat that's going to control both those units. That thermostat's also going to control the humidity on the humidifiers that we would add. So it's two furnaces that are back there that are twinned together. So they're two individual units that work as one to take care of this big square footage. The cubic footage we have in here is a lot different than the square footage too. Any heat we blow in here is going to go up high. Go ahead.
You mentioned AC also.
Yeah. So being their downflow furnaces, that's the caveat to this whole thing, is they blow down. So 8 out of every 10 furnaces, most of yours probably sit in your basement and they blow up and into ductwork and feed the house normally. These blow downwards and feed everything out of the floor. So the air conditioning coils is the indoor portion of the air conditioner. That old furnace sits on top of those. So in the world, we want to build the humidifiers up. If we start with the humidifiers and then just put the old equipment back on, it's like trying to take the middle out of a cake and not drop the top and put it all back together. It's going to fall apart on us. It'll turn into a can of worms. And it's essentially kind of a can of worms back there right now with how long it's been there and how many hands have been in it, that it's one of those where you want to run at it and not just pop the top off of that can and see where all the worms went. You want to almost slowly take it off and pull the worms out and see what we're dealing with and how we address it. Go ahead.
We did last spring have, first people in because you could see from the exhaust stacks that only one of the twins was working. Barbara was not here back.
So we had some problems, what was it, about a year ago? Not even a year ago, about 6-8 months ago. Late winter. And we had a problem with one of these two furnaces wasn't functioning. One was working and one wasn't. They were still both blowing air, but one was heating and one was not heating. So when that runs into that, we have one heating and the other one just blowing air. It cools it off, and they're showing signs of problems. And the writing on the wall is, if we start adding new found equipment and humidifiers to these furnaces that are already kind of on a hiccup and on their way out, I'd be doing a disservice if I just came in and tried to put humidifiers on here and then, oh no, now we need furnaces. And well, if we're going to do furnaces, we better do air conditioners. And then it turns into that snowball effect, as to where if I don't do the due diligence in the front end, kind of makes me look like the bad guy in the back end by just getting you what you want and not letting you know what you may need. The iWave's an air purifier, so it's a unit that we're going to mount inside of that furnace. Each one of those furnaces twinned together that ionize the air. Their claim to fame is they're going to explode any maybe particulates that are in that air so that your filters can catch them and help keep this air as clean as we can. It's just a bolt-on accessory that goes on these units. It's made by iWave. So it's an air purifier. They're very techy and very sciencey. I can get you information on how they work, because I fall on my face trying to explain exactly the science to it. But it is an accessory that we bolt on that has some proven effects on killing germs, and COVID kind of brought those things to light in our industry. So it's something that is an accessory, but it wouldn't be anything I'd say you need, I guess.
Can I add to that, though? We have had some of our office staff and pastor struggling with allergies and things.
Mhm.
And I think that's part of the reason behind this purifier. And
Yeah.
that's kind of why that is also included in there.
Yep.
Because it is affecting pastor's breathing, it is affecting, I don't remember who else, Sarah's? Sarah, yes, I've got allergies, we've got a ton.
Oh, yeah. And we all kind of hang out in the same room. I mean, we're all sitting in here and hang out in the same room for a decent amount of time, which is going to then add to, we're going to want to purify it. We're going to change the filters. We're going to make your filters a lot easier to change in that modification so that filters can be changed. Monthly is what we would recommend, especially having a congregation of people in one room once a week at minimum would be something that I would get in there and change them filters once a week and help out. Yeah, go ahead.
Are those furnaces humidifier manufactured to work together, or is it something that you're going to make?
So they're different manufacturers, I guess you would say. So the furnace manufacturers, they don't manufacture humidifiers. The furnaces that I've quoted are Armstrong furnaces, which are a version of Lennox. I'm sure everybody's heard of a Lennox furnace. You currently have Lennox furnaces back here, Lennox air conditioners. So they're entities of their own, but they are manufactured and developed to work together. So this April Air steam humidifiers, I can put the April Air humidifiers on any furnace manufacturer. Any furnace can work with these humidifiers. They definitely play nice together, but they're entities of their own in the function world. So, oh yeah.
Are these furnaces just for the church, or what about the educational wing and all of it?
It would be just sanctuary. So those two furnaces cover just sanctuary back here. But we are going to work on maintaining the whole place.
Connie, we have 4 sets of furnaces. We have the twins here. We have twins that do the education wing. We have the upper fellowship hall is on a furnace, that old structure. And then we have a furnace that does the office area. So there are 4 locations for furnaces. Actually, 6 physical units. 2 of them are twinned.
Okay, so you were saying that it was that in the office for allergies, so are they putting humidifiers on the one with all of them? Or
We put purifier, we buy purifiers from there? We were going to, I was gonna check for it, so I'm like, we were supposed to have bought purifiers going.
And that's an easy bolt-on that we can just bolt on to those existing furnaces. It wouldn't be anything that, the humidifiers and iWaves are for this area here in the original quote for that, but we do, can add those purifiers to any furnace.
So are we just talking about these two to be replaced?
Yep,
Yes.
yep. So, like,
Whenever it happens and we have new furnaces, we start cleaning our ducts regularly. This duct we have not been good about.
oh yeah, and this ductwork is underground, so things fall, get even in sweeping things, they fall down into the registers, and we can facilitate Mighty Ducts come over here and clean the ductwork too and make it an easy one. I think you had a question back here in the brown coat? Oh, okay. I think it'd be good to kind of get everything out, see what we're dealing with. When we pull the furnaces and everything out, we're going to get a good visual as to what's actually going on down and in there. And then it kind of, either it prompts us to, hey, we need these ducts cleaned, or if they look okay. But being from back here to all the way up there, I'm sure there's some stuff kind of just built up in there over 60 years of running. So.
I assume that you will maintain the air conditioning AC, or may have them changed out, some gases on well.
Yep, yep. Yeah, yeah. So the goal would be to, in the grand scheme of things, to come in and maintenance all of this equipment after the fact and give it the love that it's going to require. And changing filters, checking amp draws on certain things, drain lines, making sure them units aren't going to have a hiccup. We do programs to where we come in, whether it be quarterly or it be biannually, we come in every 6 months and just check on that equipment. It's a huge benefit to come in and maintenance it. I always tell people, you go buy a brand new car and drive the heck out of it, drive it wherever you want, never change the oil, it's not going to last forever. You're going to have a hiccup, a problem, something somewhere. Same with these, we're burning fuel, we're moving air. If we don't maintenance them, they're bound to have a problem. Saw a thing the other day in a mechanical room in a big facility that said, if you don't schedule your equipment's maintenance, it will schedule it for you. And that's kind of, in our world, if you don't love it, it's gonna rear its head and show you that you need to love it. Go ahead. Yeah. Oh, yeah, we're going to be more efficient. So actually, the units that I quoted originally were 96% efficient. They don't make the 96 anymore, they're 97. So in that world, we're going to be more efficient, which breeds to a little bit more maintenance. Like I was saying, new cars, new things. A lot of stuff nowadays doesn't have pilot lights or thermocouples like I'm sure you guys are used to back in the day, where we don't have pilot lights on furnaces nowadays. They're all electronic ignition. They're getting to a point where you plug a laptop into them to be able to figure out how to work on them. And so in the world of technology, it's a blessing and a curse some days, because it does add to that layer of maintenance. We're going to have to take care of it, and if we don't, it's probably going to be a problem, and it's probably not going to be a very cheap problem in the world we're living in nowadays. So it would be something that, it's definitely, the steam humidifiers are something that require maintenance. I have 2 steam humidifiers on my shop in a very similar setup. My shop has upflow furnaces though, rather than these downflows, but I have 2 of the exact same steam humidifiers on my shop, and they're maintenance. We need to love them. And even in my HVAC shop, I have to maintenance them and have guys go in there every 6 months and we maintenance them. And there's a sticker shop adjacent to us that we just put steam humidifiers on, and the canister went bad inside the unit. And that's just something in the manufacturer world. It ran for about 6 months. They didn't maintenance it, and the canister went bad, and that's about a $400 fix. So maintaining them is going to save us money down the road, taking care of these things that we need. We couldn't really put any different humidity into this place and make it worth a guff. We dump little Dyson or a Vicks humidifier next to that guy. It's not going to work. It's going to float away and not absorb into anything. My shop, for reference, has about 6,000 square feet of hardwood floor. And our steam humidifiers were down for about 2 months, and I watched the cracks in the floor get bigger. And then as we turned them back on, we watched them kind of close back up. So it definitely works, but it's something that, in the humidification world, in the organ world, I'm sure you get what you pay for. If you want a cheap one, it's going to end up being a cheap kind of clunky unit that you're going to have problems with.
What kind of time frame is start and
Start and finish for me is kind of generally roughly a 30-day kind of turnaround. So once we get through logistically and I get signed proposals, it's generally a 30-day kind of turnaround from that point. So it'd be something I could knock out if we figured it out next week. I could get it done in February for sure. But it would be something that I wouldn't want to get my cart before my horse. I'd want to make sure I have all my materials and all my everything in order. With this project back here, I do have a couple subcontractors in that to get the power that I need and the water that I need. So I have WG Dale as my electricians coming in and getting the power for those humidifiers. These humidifiers run best on 240 volts. They don't work well on 120 volts. They need that higher voltage to kind of make the conductivity in the water to make that steam. So I would have to rope those guys in as well to make sure that everything is done at the same time. Because I'm not going to come in, put everything in, and then make us wait another 30 days for the electricians to get here and then the plumbers. I would have it scheduled and seamlessly installed at the same time. Yeah, that's going to be our primary focus, is set the furnaces back up. We're going to yank those guys out and get the new furnaces set back up. And in the world we're living in now, is get the heat going again as soon as possible. We have abilities to set a few space heaters in here to keep us acclimated. I wouldn't come in here on a Friday and try to get this done. This would definitely be a Monday project to give me the week to get it done and ready for Sunday. So there's no hiccup in occupying the place. Yes, yep, I have the pricing, and their pricing is all included in mine to do so. So it'd be a turnkey operation, having them with my guys and installed at the same time. So me and WG Dale and Merit Plumbing work hand in hand constantly. So it's a great working relationship to where if I could call them guys today and they would answer, and I'd tell them, hey, we got to get after this project. We would get after it, and they would jump when I need them to jump, which is a blessing that we work so much together. Warranties on the equipment's going to be a 10-year warranty on the equipment. The humidifiers, I believe, have a 5-year warranty. We're going to register equipment for you. And in the commercial aspect, again, can be a caveat to it. The commercial manufacturers, they don't usually give commercial facilities the best warranties. They figure anything in a commercial is a business and they got money. That's definitely different with churches, things like that, and would be something that we'd stand behind it in a prideful venture as well. Our labor's all warranted for a year. So if we got in and something was awry in a year and 6 months, in my moral compass, I'm going to warranty that labor and take care of you guys.
Can you talk just a little bit, like cold today, you got high demand, you're gonna get some moisture in it.
You get some sweat on the windows.
What's the problem with your shop with that in this environment? Speak to that just a little bit.
Yeah, definitely. And for reference, my shop, I don't have that problem at all, but it's a 100-year-old building that's definitely not airtight. And this structure's well built, but we're not living in an ICF airtight structure. There is going to be some leakage in here. Mother Nature's going to find her way in, doors being opened, things like that. And these humidifiers are going to be ran on humidity sensor over here at the thermostat. So if we have it set at 45% relative and we hit 45% relative, it's going to shut down. And if we get below that, then they're going to come back on. So they're going to be regulated at the thermostat. I would crank them to 45% and see if we can get there. Because that's the trick with how dry out it is right now and that wind we've been having. There's just no moisture in the air. But for reference too, it'd be something that our office downtown, it'd be something if you guys are out and around, to be able to feel the difference is pretty cool when you walk into our shop and feel the humidity is something, it's quite impressive. Where you almost feel like you're in a jungle. Of course.
You have to have any experience in another place, another church say that needed like humidity for the organ.
This is my first one. So this in that aspect, it would be something that I haven't ran into that issue. I deal with lots of new builds, things like that, where the hardwood floors won't warranty their floors if they don't have some version of a humidifier installed on the home. But this would be my first run at, say, fixing issues with an organ with, say, steam humidifier. But in the manufacturer standpoint, the Aprilaire, them humidifiers, they're awesome. They work well. And it'd be something that, like I said, you could stop by and touch and feel as well if it's something that you want to take a peek at and see kind of what it would look like and how it would work. That's kind of the...
Shop that manufacturer does are installed in the church.
What's that?
Not here, but they've been used other places.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, yeah. It's definitely a common practice. I just couldn't personally speak to, I fixed 5 different organs with this method. Would be in the world of necessity, in the necessity world is the heating. The heating of this place is our necessity. The air conditioning can somewhat be a luxury unless you cram 250 people in here and it's a hot day. That's a necessity. So it'd be, and then a necessity world of organ, it wants that moisture. Or any of this wood around here. Us as humans, I don't know if you shock yourself at home or have bloody noses, things like that. It's definitely humidity. It helps us out, but wouldn't be anything that we couldn't tackle without any problems at all. I'm fairly confident in the installation. Be happy to meet you guys back there too if you want to look and touch and feel and see what's going on in this mechanical room. I can meet you back there, and that's my normal day-to-day is standing in front of a furnace talking about how it goes. So this is definitely new for me, but I appreciate the questions. And have anything, I can leave some cards too that have my number, all of my information. Just give me a shout. Good?
DJ, thank you very much. Any other questions or comments? And that ends our official building and ground. Sandy wants to promo next week. We'll let her.
So, for those of you that were in church this morning, we've slightly changed the process next week. We cannot start the annual meeting earlier than it is announced at. Unlike these last couple, we can start those early if we choose. But next week's annual meeting cannot be started early. It has to start at 10:45 where it's announced. So we're going to do our brunch and serve our food first and then get started. We can start a little bit late, but we can't start early. So we're actually going to do the brunch and then start the meeting. We'll have the meeting down in the lower fellowship.
Meet, we've got a new term. Any other questions? Richard? We've got the estimate. It was, I'll back up DJ, he can correct me. It was good through the end of December, and he's talking different furnaces, the availability than what was in there. I'm not going to put him on the spot without letting him do his math first.
I'm gonna revise it, and I'm just gonna check pricing on equipment and make sure my pricing hasn't gone up. I held it at even $40,000, till December, till 2025. Around 40? Right at 40,
We've been plugging 50 because we've been around the bush once in a while, and things happen and prices go up and you find you need a new widget and whatever. So we've, in all of our budgeting and projection, we certainly want it to come in a whole lot less than 50, but that's what we've been talking. Connie?
Does some of the Oregon money pay for the,
Humidity, the humidification, not the furnace, not the AC. That was clarified by the council in the last month or so.
Are they gonna do the samples down there before next week? Did I hear that right?
We were going to have them available for you. Our floor expert, John, had a death in the family, and so his schedule is a week behind. They will be coming in on Thursday of this week, the last I heard. They're going to do a sample area on the west end of the lower fellowship hall. They will tear out the carpet. They'll sand down the concrete that's there. They'll do the staining and the polish. There will be 3 different sample areas. And they will be available Sunday. They are encouraging us to go in and give it everything you've got. Try and scratch it, stomp on it. Maybe not bring your mountain climbing ice pick. That might be a bit much, but you know, I looked at him and said, "Can I come in with my gravel-filled boots?" And he said, "Go for it." So, if you are interested in looking more at the east exterior windows, you can see them up through the nursery. We've got a couple of the ceiling tiles pulled away so you can see them from inside, and do walk around and look back at it and look at the rot that's down in the bottom of that wall. Look at the cross, look at the tape on the wall, figure out how you would like to have that mounted, and then, you know, call the church office, cast your vote. We'll probably be casting some kind of vote or hand raising. I don't know what RC has in mind for next week, but I'm sure that will come up during the annual meeting at some point. Anything else for the good of the cause? Thank you, everybody. Your comments and questions were spot on. Have a good day. Please be safe outside.